Hello and welcome to another episode of Parliamentary Conversations in the Commonwealth, the CPA's podcast looking at some of the most critical issues facing parliaments and parliamentarians across the world today. This episode was made in association with the Human Coined podcast, hosted by Geoff Dubrow, founder and principal consultant at Nexus PFM Consulting Inc. This podcast looks at the nexus between public financial management and the work of elected representative bodies such as parliaments. In the first episode of a series on public accounts committees, Geoff Dubrow talks to Seve Paeniu, MP from Tuvalu and former Minister for Finance. To listen to more episodes of Parliamentary Conversations in the Commonwealth, either visit our website at cpahq.org or listen on any of your favourite podcasting apps.
This is Human Coined, a series that unpacks the mechanics of public finance, the complexities of democracy, and the societies they ultimately shape. I'm your host, Geoff Dubrow. Join me in a social dialogue that cracks open important issues that are too often ignored here at home and around the world.
Seve Paeniu, welcome to Human Coined.
Thank you for having me on your program.
So tell us about your Public Accounts Committee, or tell us about your Parliament, first of all.
Yeah, so the Tuvalu Parliament consists of 16 elected members of Parliament, and 10 of them form the government, including the Speaker, and therefore leaving 6 members of Parliament not having any ministerial portfolio. So the Public Accounts Committee for Tuvalu is a small committee comprising of 3 members. The chair is often selected from members of the opposition or the non-cabinet ministerial appointees. And the other 2 members are also from the ordinary members of Parliament who do not have cabinet portfolios. The Public Accounts Committee do not meet that often. So what I'm saying is that the Tuvalu Public Accounts Committee could be much improved, both in terms of its overall function and functionality, and also in terms of how frequent it can meet. So those are the challenges we're facing in Tuvalu. So when the chair of the PAC is absent, the whole committee comes to a stop, the work of the PAC. And because it's only a 3-member committee, when one is away, when one member is away, or the chair, you don't get the committee to convene. So even the rules governing the Public Accounts Committee are embedded in the standing orders. So there is not that much teeth, so to speak, in terms of the role and the function and how it can be made more effective. In terms of support staff, it is mainly being provided through the principal Supreme Audit Institution, which is the Auditor General office, which provides sort of advisory capacity support to the PAC, and oftentimes also ends up doing secretarial, clerical, administrative support service to the PAC, and thereby also then gives that further added challenge and issues for the functionality of the pack.
I think I just want to follow up with a question, which is, it sounds, in many small islands, when there are ministers on committee, which is not the case with you, but in other small islands, I can understand why sometimes, or when the leader of the opposition is the chair, I can understand some of the political reasons that halt the committee from operating. In your case, though, with non-government members on the PAC, or non-ministerial members on the PAC, it sounds like it's simply an availability issue in terms of the actual meetings, of getting the three members together. Am I oversimplifying that? I heard the capacity issues, but in terms of actually constituting a meeting, it sounds like it's more of an availability issue, or is it political will as well?
It's more a availability issue, but then additionally, the audited the financial statements and audited reports are not up to date or timely, and therefore there is a 2-3 year backlog of audited accounts. So when you have out of date reports being brought up to be considered by the PAC, you lose the focus because you are investigating things that have happened and occurred 2, 3, 4 years down the line. So that is another challenge and issue for the Tuvalu PAC in terms of timely information that comes through up to the PAC.
Yes, and I've noticed that that's the case in many small islands, that the financial statements are not up to date. I noticed that in very prevalent in the Caribbean as well. And I think you're a former Minister of Finance, if I'm not mistaken. So you would have am I correct about that?
Yes. So for Tuvalu's case, we have had issues in terms of the main financial management information system, which sort of prevents a timely reporting of financials. So when you need to have timely reconciliation of accounts, your bank account with the payments and receipts, and that is not reconciled into the main core accounting or financial system, then that drags the work to completing the accounts on time. And then that further delays the auditing that comes afterward. So there are issues that are being addressed in terms of the timely compilation of the accounts. And I think in the near term that issue should be addressed.
So just to understand better, so it's not just an issue, because I guess I was oversimplifying in other cases, in other countries, other branches, thinking that it had more to do with the late submission of the financial statements by central government, by state-owned enterprises. Is it more an issue of late submission or lack of capacity of central government and SOE to submit their financial statements so that the government can present consolidated financial statements? Or is it really more about the actual financial management information system, the FMIS?
It's kind of both. So the core financial management information system now is almost addressed now. So there is now a functional ongoing system in place to record the transactions and reconcile with the bank accounts and produce financial reports from the system. So that now is working. So it's a matter of people or the users using that core financial information system, being able to use that effectively, both in terms of data entry and also producing financial reports. So that's for the central government. And then for SOEs, that's another challenge
Yes.
in terms of them being able to produce timely financial information. So put those two together, that sort of causes the delays in submitting the accounts to the Supreme Audit Institution for auditing.
So would you say that if we were to summarize our discussion so far, would we say that the late submission of the financial statements, or the late compilation of the financial statements, owed to the fact that the financial management information system is not fully servicing the needs of the administration, is the main reason why there's a lack of incentive for the Public Accounts Committee to meet and to go through the Auditor General's reports? Would that be a fair characterization?
Partly, and then secondly, but there is not that much familiarity in using that system, and also the SOEs, the public enterprises, are having their own core system to record and report on their financial transactions, and again that they have issues of capacity within the SOEs.
So the SOEs are not on the financial management information system, which is in itself going to make it hard to present consolidated financial statements for the government.
Correct.
So if you were to wave a magic wand, how would you make PAC more effective? Is there any workaround on this, or do we have to wait until the entire system is up and running? Which sounds a little aspirational, and not only in the case of Tuvalu, but many other countries, small islands as well, small jurisdictions as well, and larger ones for that matter. What do you see as the quickest solution to having an effective Public Accounts Committee? Because you sound like you have the infrastructure, you have the members ready to go. You don't have the obstacle of ministers on committee. You have you have technical support from the Supreme Audit Institution. It sounds like on the parliamentary side, it's all systems go.
Well, so we are talking about mainly the financial compliance investigation of the accounts, of the government accounts, of finances or the financial transactions.
Sure. Sure.
But the Supreme Audit Institution also carries out its own independent programs and key departments. So they produce those performance reports separately from the consolidated accounts audit. So those reports also come through to the PAC. So the PAC should be able to function nonetheless, regardless of the delays in the submission of the consolidated financial statements of the government. So it's
okay.
it's kind of both ways. One is in terms of producing the consolidated financial timely submission of the consolidated financial statements, but also in terms of reviewing and interrogating the performance audit for certain key programs and sectors of government.
Okay, so with regard to the performance audits, in your view, how many performance audits has the PAC been able to review on an annual basis?
2 or 3 a year.
Okay.
Yeah. So that should be sufficient workload for the PAC to be able to carry out its own interrogation of those performance audits.
And I just of course I take note of the reference to the term should be able as opposed to can. What's holding them back? Is it just a matter of, when I say political will, I mean there's a lot of course, are members full time or part time in Parliament?
Well, they can be full time if they need to, because we are elected officials and on a full-time basis. So there is no reason why the PAC couldn't meet as and when required if there is work to be done. Yeah. So for the case of Tuvalu PAC, what I see will make it more effective and functional is to enact a specific legislation for PAC, because currently there's some general rules governing its work in the standing orders, and I think that is deficient. It doesn't address many of the workings and rules governing more functional and effective PAC system or model. So that will be the first recommendation. Secondly, in terms of the focus of the work of the PAC, that needs to be clarified in the legislation, that not only looking at ex post sort of financial transactions, but also ex ante budget scrutiny. So you have to move from performance audit, or another secondary scrutiny of the PAC would be, apart from the performance audit of ex post transactions, would be an ex ante budget scrutiny before it is tabled in the full Parliament for approval. The PAC would need to have certain powers to obtain information it needed, and also to summon witnesses, and be able to have the ability to convene evidence hearings when summoning witnesses, and those evidence hearings would need to be open to the public and the media for transparency. And then in terms of resources, there needed to be dedicated research capacity for the PAC, apart from the clerk and the Supreme Audit Institution advisory capacity. Tuvalu is now planning to build a new Parliament building, and hopefully there would be space for committee meetings and work. but also a library for not only Parliament, but for the work of the PAC as well. And then finally, given the small numbers of parliamentarians for Tuvalu, it would be advantageous for the regular functioning of PAC to have all the non-ministerial members of Parliament be included to comprise the PAC. So that will mean expanding the current membership from 3 to 6. And in that way, and you have to appoint a deputy chair. So you will have a more regular ongoing work of the PAC, regardless of whether the chair is absent or not, or other members being away. You will guarantee to have ongoing work for the committee. And all these rules would need to be included in a dedicated legislation for PAC. And then only in that way, you would see a more functional and effective PAC for Tuvalu.
Okay, Seve, we'll have to leave it there, but thank you so much for your insights. This has been a very, very fruitful and helpful discussion to understand some of the capacity challenges that PACs have in small islands. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having this wonderful opportunity, especially after participating in the small branches workshop in the Isle of Man, Geoff, which provided that really good opportunity for interaction and sharing of experiences across the small jurisdictions, the small parliaments of the Commonwealth, and therefore taking on board some of those recommendations and experiences and fine-tuning and refining them for your own context.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you. Bye now.
Human Coined is an integral part of Nexus PFM Consulting. If you enjoyed this episode, you can also find us on YouTube and on your favorite podcast app. If you have any questions about the work we do, you can contact us at info@nexuspfm.com.